I want to point out to you that your mind here was previously making things binary. Failure, success, as opposed to no. There's lots and lots and lots of successes. There may be a spectrum of how successful the business is and could be, and we can all have all sorts of healthy conversations about, what would taking it to the next level look like? There's a little phrase that a mentor shared with me a long time ago, which is you can only build on success. There's something I need to point out to you. You are doing something that a lot of really intelligent people do that ends up making their life pretty miserable, which is you are applying what I call the meta model of the delusion of right and wrong. So a meta model means it's a way of thinking that you use in all sorts of different situations. It's not like one filter I use in one situation. I'm using this filter in lots and lots of situations. The meta model that you're using is the fact that you used the word correct means you're like grading yourself, like pass, fail, yes, no, correct, incorrect, black, white, right, wrong. The better way I'd like for you to think about it is think in terms of like healthy towards unhealthy. Like think of a spectrum. Like, is it healthy to watch television? Well, it depends. You know, you had a long day, you worked really hard, you're really proud of yourself. You just need 15 minutes to like relax and kind of reset your brain and just goof off and have a little fun. Then watching TV is a very healthy thing. Watching TV for 8 hours in a row while you're avoiding filing your taxes? No, that's an unhealthy thing. Or same thing with say diet or exercise. Like people will do this to themselves all the time. Well, what is the right diet? What is the right exercise plan? As opposed to just going, well, hold on a minute. You don't need to have the perfect diet. You don't need to have the perfect plan. You just need to be moving down the spectrum of health. You just need to be making overall healthier choices. So when it comes to this kind of work, like inner belief work, it's the same sort of thing. Like theoretically, there may be a optimized, like best version of the new mindset, the new belief or whatever. But really, we just need to be concerned with, okay, this old belief was clearly unhealthy. It was clearly causing these feelings and these actions and these behaviors, not good. Let me find a better belief. What feels more true? And it doesn't need to be like, oh, well, is that the exact wording? Or, well, I don't think I followed the assignment exactly right. It just needs to be, well, no, that's not really true. This feels way better. Let's go with that one.
Well, that I'm not a failure, or that actually, it should be I'm successful though, right?
Yep.
I have wonderful kids that part of the failure that I wasn't a great dad. So to combat that is that I do have wonderful kids that I actually had a part in, like producing wonderful kids, because they're good kids.
By the way, what in the world could be a higher indicator of success? Like really, at the end of your life, when you're is there anything that might even matter more than that? That you good kids who are good people in the world?
Who take good care of each other.
Yeah. I have a moderately successful business. I mean, I have been self-employed since 2007.
Is it profitable? Are you in the black?
Yeah.
Do you remember the looking for red thing, Howie?
Yes.
Do you notice how your mind is looking for red in all these situations? Your mind is looking, well, I'm in good health, except, my eyes are not totally perfect. Who cares? Are you healthy,
Yeah, I'm 56 and I've never been on a med.
So there's that, which, by the way, we could remember the looking for blue versus looking for red. If we start looking for blue, we could go even in more detail, right? Like, in what way are you healthy? Your heart, your lungs, your joints, your movement, your brain, your cognitive ability. There's all sorts of ways in which you are healthy. If we looked at your kids and we double clicked on that one for a second, as opposed to just saying, oh, I've raised good kids. Well, give me 5 ways in which they're good kids.
They show overwhelming care and protection of one another. They are learning to reach out beyond their own sibling group. We didn't have a whole lot of outside friendships for them to develop outside friends, but they're learning that skill. They're responsible. In times of trial, they rally around each other.
There you go. That already tells me where they're going to be headed in life, even though they're going to have some bumps and some ups and downs. And again, I want to point out to you that your mind here was previously making things binary. Failure, success, as opposed to no. There's lots and lots and lots of successes. There may be a spectrum of how successful the business is and could be, and we can all have all sorts of healthy conversations about, what would taking it to the next level look like? There's a little phrase that a mentor shared with me a long time ago, which is you can only build on success. And what he meant by that was, as soon as you go into the mental pattern of, well, this isn't quite how I want it to be, and this isn't quite how I want it to be, and this is not really going well. As soon as you go into that looking for red energy, your whole system collapses. What that does is, as soon as we focus on what's missing, what's lacking, what is wrong, what did I do wrong, that immediately puts us in a state of disempowerment, sadness, frustration, anger, I'm not good enough, etc. Then in that emotional state, what kind of actions do we take? Avoidant, confused, non-committal, one step forward, two steps back. If you bring that energy into like a sales call or a client meeting or interaction with your kids or the bedroom with your wife, like that emotional state is not going to get you the result that you want. When he was saying you can only build on success, what he meant is as soon as you then flip that and you go, well, hold on a minute, what successes do I already have? Even if they're small, you go, yeah, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. And then your brain goes, yeah, you know what? And I could do this too. And I could do that too. And I could make this happen, right? All of a sudden you're in what we call an emotional state of resourcefulness. You're in a state where you actually feel fueled. You actually feel like you can make things happen again. Do you remember the analogy in the videos where I was talking about like building a table, like creating beliefs is like building a table, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
So like if I have a table and it's standing on, two flimsy little legs, the belief is going to flop right over. What's probably happened, for example, is Tiffany has said things to you like, you are a great husband. You are a great dad. I bet she's said her own version of that to you 1,000 times. And then it went in one ear and out the other really fast. And the reason it did is because, she was like, well, look at this and look at that. And she was trying to like point out a lot of the stuff that I'm having you remember. That was like a flimsy little tabletop with like one or two little references. And then what was happening is then you dedicated like 90% of your energy to this other tabletop, which is, no, I'm a failure because of this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And then you put like, 50 different legs underneath that tabletop. So that one becomes really stable and solid and rigid and not moving because you've built up all these references to it. But you've built up all those references really just because you've been looking for proof to confirm what you've assumed. That's what we call confirmation bias in psychology. If you assume that you're not a good dad, then your brain is going to be on the hunt looking for proof that you're not a good dad, right? And it's going to selectively distort and delete the environment around you and feed all of those, negative beliefs. So that's why this whole process, one of the key parts of this process is going, well, hold on a minute, what is really true? And then let me think for a second, what are all the reasons why that is true? Why that positive belief is true? Small reasons, medium reasons, big reasons. And that builds up a new tabletop. That actually takes you from, Tiffany saying it to you and you being like, yeah, that's real nice, sweetie, I just don't really believe that, to going like, oh, well, actually, you know what? That is accurate because there's all this data to support it. You really need to catch yourself. And, Tiffany can lovingly like give you a little nudge when you're doing this, right? When your mind is wanting to go, yeah, this and this and this and this and like nitpick. And instead you want to go, well, hold on a minute. Well, blah, blah, blah. Let me wipe my hard drive there. Let me flip that. Yeah. How do I know I'm successful? How do I know I'm doing a good job? Why was today a good day? Why was that interaction with my child a good interaction? Like those are the types of questions you want to start asking yourself. New questions lead to new answers. New answers lead to new beliefs.
Well, the failure part is big, and the husband father are big ones for me too.
So here's one of the things that you want to start thinking about. Not what would Tiffany's definition of a good husband be, not what would your parents' definition, not what is society's definition, not what is your priest's definition. Like, what would your definition of a good husband be?
Well, because I'm a Christian, the scripture talks about loving your wife as Christ loves the church, which means that you love her sacrificially. You love her before yourself. You give of yourself. You are attentive to her.
So here's where you were violating your own definition of a good husband without even realizing it. First of all, let me honor the intention behind that because it's a beautiful, amazing, sincere intention. And you need to really receive that. You need to give yourself credit for, the fact that you've been trying so hard. Like that in and of itself is worth acknowledgement. So please acknowledge that with yourself. What I want to gently suggest to you is that you were slightly confused and you were 2 millimeters away from the truth. And here's why. If you're really loving your wife selflessly, sacrificially, if you're really doing it for her, what you did is you created a mental model of who you had to be that then you tried to live up to. And that's making it about you, not about her. Then it becomes about like a performance, an evaluation, a test. I have to check these boxes. I have to do these things or I'm not enough.
Yeah, but I have very much considered myself a selfish person.
Okay, well, you need to stop saying that. Here's one of the things we believe in is we diagnose patterns, never people. Isn't it true that you actually are a pretty selfless person, Howie? Tell me a small but selfless action you took in the past 30 days.
This is silly, but I hung bath towels in the bathroom.
That's right. Give me another small selfless action you did in the last 30 days.
Fixed Tiffany's wiper motor pump.
Perfect. And then a third small selfless thing you've done. What about your block party? That was a perfect example.
Oh, I adjusted my client's door just because. It wasn't part of the job.
So write something down real quick. When it comes to love and contribution, there is no act too small. And then what I would also write is intent over outcome. The reason why you felt so successful when you went to California was because you had a easier to accomplish set of rules for success. Your game was more winnable.
Yeah, I mean, the world was my oyster at that point. I had everything ahead of me, basically.
Well, this is important distinction. You
Okay.
felt that your world was your oyster because you did not have a big evaluative criteria that you were holding yourself to. Because you were not constantly measuring your every act and thought and feeling and gesture and whatever against a criteria, you were present with what was. Because you were present with what was, you were like, oh my gosh, I have all these possibilities. All of your energy was freed up to think about the possibilities in the future. What I'm pointing out to you here, what I'm trying to get across is you somewhere along the line convinced yourself that hanging bath towels and inviting people to the block party and making little signs or whatever it is that you do, that those things don't matter. The only thing that matters is if I'm doing this and this and this, and I'm not doing those things perfectly, therefore I'm not a good husband, I'm not successful. Unless my credit is exactly like this, then I'm not successful. Instead of, I served this client and I did this thing and I got that thing done and I tried my best and I blah, 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 blah. So I want you to read that one more time, what I had you write down, right? When it comes to love and contribution, there is no act too small. Some gestures will be big, some will be small. Sometimes you will do something with an open heart and it lands well. Sometimes you'll do it with an open heart, it doesn't land super well. That's okay, but the intent is what matters most.